What's up, everybody? Welcome to a tutorial series on streaming tools and different things used in order to stream, right? Like, so we're going to start off with the first piece you need. You need to have some sort of streaming software. You need to have some ability to get your video and your webcam and your gameplay and all that up to Twitch or YouTube or any other platform that you might be streaming to. A lot of stuff we'll refer to will be Twitch specific, since that's where we stream currently, but you could use it to the other services the same way, right? So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? This is going to be OBS. We're going to start with a blank canvas. We're going to kind of go into how I've set up some of my different things that I do on stream. And so the first thing we're going to go ahead and talk about within OBS is scenes. Okay, it's just like the movie theater, just like how they do it. Everything, when you do graphic editing, everything's going to be layered, right? You can have different layers stacked on top of each other. OBS uses scenes, right? So you could create a scene for different aspects of what you want to do with. So I have a blank canvas. I have my stream starting. It's a scene, right? And it goes into like showing everything and counting down, letting people get into my stream. Go ahead and show that real quick. So yeah, it just has 4 minutes, lets people trickle into your stream and go, right? Boom. Good to go. Now let's go ahead and start playing. Boom. This is where I normally would have my webcam just above me, kind of like you see it here. It'd be in that the top screen just by my name. And here I am playing games, you know, and it's just, that's how you would normally see my gameplay. I keep it very minimalistic. You only see me, the game, and then I have like the join our Discord and like some merch that comes up occasionally. This stuff will go away normally over time. It's only up for a short period of time. All right. So that's pretty much our gameplay. And then say we have to go use a bathroom or we'll grab a beverage or something like that, we can put everybody into our BRB, right? We'll be right back. So this is the screen I've set up for that. Has a little cool countdown timer so you can actually see when I'm going to come back. Usually come back before that timer, but I just have it there on there. That way, if somebody happened to come to the channel, there's a timer, right? They realize, oh, he's going to be back within 4 minutes. You gotta, if you don't put a timer on there and you just have this stream up, you're gonna have some random person come into your stream, look at your stuff for like 20 seconds and be like, yep, that's nice. All right, move on. Because this guy's never coming back, right? They don't know when you're gonna come back. I have another cool scene where I just recorded this video to show you what it looks like. But yeah, you could actually see like the chat window up here. You can see my computer monitors and everything going on. So it's kind of cool. It's a cool screen for people to see what's going on at my desk while I'm playing game, but also just kind of while we're hanging out, right? Other cool thing about this is you can look up here in the corner. I have blue lights. Up here in my stream chat, you can see I was testing my bot command to make sure everything was working. So if you do like exclamation point red, exclamation point blue, blue would bring this, red would be those lights. So it allows the chat to interact with you and actually change your colors out. Like if I get a new follower or a new dono or a new subscriber, these lights flash certain colors so that as I'm playing the game, visually I could see something's going on, and then I could focus and then, you know, bring up a thing and be like, you know, oh, somebody just followed me. Hey, you know, Taysir, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the channel. You know, you can greet that person, make them feel special and be part of the community, right? I also have a specific scene for when somebody subs to my channel. You know, I can actually call them out and, you know, say how grateful that I am for that subscription. And then at the end of my stream, of course, I have my last scene, which is just scene ending. Yeah. Oh, if you could see here, see how these are just fading and doing different things. There's a matrix I have set up where we'll get to it in another video, but it actually, you could use that plugin to actually change each scene to scene transition into whatever specific transition type you want. You don't have to always have this transition. You don't always have to have that. You can change it up and be like, hey, boom, I just want to see, you know, this next scene, whatever. So that's another thing we'll talk about later, right? So we've kind of gone through, these are the scenes I use. And then down below all these scenes, I actually have, bring this one up, I actually have these sub scenes, right? These are all sub scenes. These are all scenes that I either embed in my other scene, or there's something I have like quick timer, right? Like I have my stream starts, and then after it goes through, like 40 seconds before I go live, I play the Simply the Best, which is just something to get them pumped up and ready for the stream, right? So the only time I actually ever select this is I have I use a Elgato Stream Deck, and I have a button so that it times it. So it presses the stream starting, and then when I'm ready, I say, hey, let's go. It brings up this, and then it waits the same amount of time as soon as the video is done, based on that time that I've set in that button function. It will then automatically kick it over to my game with overlay. So it's kind of cool. You can fully automate all the scene transitions and all the different things with you know, hotkeys, or using like an Elgato Stream Deck where it'll do it for you. So these sub scenes, the other reason for sub scenes are, like for instance, I have webcam normal and I have webcam shadow. So what I do is in this scene, I put my actual webcam as a source within the scene, and then in the scene itself, you can filter on the scene. That way it doesn't filter on the webcam itself. We'll get to that in a second. That sounds kind of funky, but what it is like, I use this webcam shadow, and you can see what that color correction does is it actually makes my webcam, from what you see right now, black. Like you can't see me. So that if I'm eating or drinking or something and I don't want to show it on camera, I can do that. Or I use it for my sub channel where I'm silhouetted over the flames and it's just the black, right? So that was just using a filter on the actual scene versus using a filter directly on the device. If you use a filter on the device, every scene would have that. Like anytime you use that camera, the Logitech webcam, it would automatically be there. So that's where I use it on scenes. You put filters. There's also a plugin, a motion filter that you can use with a plugin, where you can actually move stuff around across, or, you know, along your screen however you want. You can apply that at the actual scene level. We'll get to that in the other video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that talks about all the different aspects of that. Within the scenes, you have all your sources. The sources are basically like this timer is a source. This picture here, the Facebook picture, is a source. That text is a source. This video is a source. All right, so that's what all these things are. You're literally just building a layered cake, right? You have like, here's the snake skin. That snake skin's the bottom, and then I put this video here, and then I put the frame over the top of it so it crops out the video and you can't see the edge of the video. So you just build it like a layered cake, right? Put whatever you want in there. Put, you know, maybe you do want to show all your donations or all your followers on your actual gaming screen. So you could put them in there, right? You can do it just like I have it here. And when you link it to whatever you use for your alerts, like Stream Elements or Streamlabs, something like that, you could actually take their feed and then put these things on there, right? So that's what I do on the BRB, or behind the screen, where you see right up here, right? These are just actual inputs from Stream Elements to fill this out. So I don't ever have to remember who the last subscriber was, or the last tipper, or the last follower. It automatically does it for me. So that's pretty much the essence of sources. Hopefully that did it. There's so much time we could spend on that, but basically you have sources of your audio devices. It could be your exporting audio, like, you know, like your speakers. all your different sources. You can add those in there individually. Input's going to be stuff like your microphone's an input, things like that. You got browser, which equals a web browser. You could be using like Stream Elements uses a web browser source where these are actually web pages, that it pulls the information from. One thing to note, the more browsers, the more things you use, the more CPU usage or GPU usage you're going to use on this thing. More CPU usage, really. So just remember that. You got to remember your machine and then tailor your stuff based on your machine. All right. So that's pretty much all of them in here. You got media source, video clips. There's the embedded scene that we talked about. You got text. You got video capture, aka webcam. Window capture would be like if you're capturing your gameplay from an Elgato device, your capture card, then that would be a window capture device, or that could be a video capture device. It just depends. All right. So that covers all the sources. Over here, you got audio mixer. That's the next layer of things to work on, right? I have a video playing on here. You can mute the video, make sure that doesn't come up. I got PC audio. That's my gaming audio, streaming PC audio. And then we also have the video, which is playing down here. So that's right now showing up on the video playing. That's what it's going. But you can adjust your levels for each one of your little items here. You can mute them. If you don't want to see it ever again, you can right click and hit hide. And then it won't show up regardless of what scene you're on. Anytime this one MP4 you're using, it won't show it. You would have to unhide all and then start hiding the ones that you've hidden. So what I normally do is these little video assets I add into my thing, I know I'm not going to actually have the audio from them playing. So I just mute them and then hide them. So I never have to worry about seeing them on different scenes. So that covers all these pieces. These are the three main pieces within OBS. You have your scenes, your sources within a scene, or a scene within a scene. And then you have your audio mixer, which would be anything that's producing audio within that scene. And then just remember, like, as you switch scenes, you'll actually see, like, for instance, on this one, I have gameplay, I have streaming PC audio, and this other video, right? If I go to BRB, watch this audio jump, right? All this stuff disappears as we come over to the scene. Now I just have the video clip that's playing. So now, like, if I was talking right now, because I don't have my streaming, my gaming PC audio coming to my streaming PC, like, the microphone wouldn't pick up normally when I was streaming. So that's a good thing, is you don't have to remember about muting yourself if you go walk away from your computer, right? Always be aware of that, right? If you do have a scene and you do see your microphone showing up on that scene and you didn't mute it when you walked away, if you were sitting there talking to your wife about what you guys want to do and nobody cares, it could be bad, right? So just remember that. Be aware of your surroundings within this software. But yeah, I think that covers all that. We'll go ahead and move on over. We're going to move over to the right side over here now. We're going to talk about some of these panels. We've got the Twitch stats. This is a new panel they added like a while back, which is awesome. So you can actually see within the software, you can actually see, hey, how many people are watching me? How long have I been streaming? Has there been any clips made while you're streaming, right? Like, you do something really funny, say, hey guys, make a clip of that. It's Alt X while you're streaming. If somebody's watching you, just say, hey, clip that. And they're like, oh, I don't know how to clip. Say Alt X. And it brings up like a little bar they can edit that, what happened. Then you got channel views, followers, subscribers. But it's good. It's good to have all that little picture in that one little window while you're streaming. You can just do a quick look, boom. Okay, awesome. We're doing great. Oh man, I've been streaming for 4.5 hours. Maybe I should stop. Something to keep you going when you're going, right? Control windows, pretty freaking easy and self-explanatory. Or start streaming. I keep always going out of order. Start streaming. That's going to send your live stream, right? As soon as you hit start streaming, whatever you have shown on your screen, that's going to be what's showing. Like if I went start streaming right now, that would go live and I'd be streaming that, which is not what I want to do. So be aware of what you're doing and what's going on. I normally would start with a blank scene. Once that was ready, then I would start streaming. I'd wait about 10 seconds because when you start streaming, all this stuff, you can hit reset if you want. All this stuff will start counting up, right? Any frames missed during rendering, any skipped frames, it helps you so much. It tells you how much your bit rate's fluctuating if everything is golden, right? So keep this screen up and you can see all that. All right, so you would hit start streaming. I see all this stuff regulate, nothing's spiking, nothing looks bad. Boom. Okay, then I would switch over to my start streaming scene, and now I can go grab my cup of coffee, go grab a beverage, make sure my green screen's up, make sure my lighting's set up in here perfectly. Jump in the Discord channel, start jumping in with your buddies in the game, whatever. And then once this timer's done, you go to your game and you start going. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. So that was a start streaming, start recording. Recording's literally the same thing. You could use these scenes and you can do these different things if you want to make a local recording. Maybe you want to mimic what you're doing and make a YouTube video. Anyway, but yeah, that's what it is. Just record to your local device. We'll get into those when we get into the settings screen so you can actually see everything. Replay buffer is awesome. While I'm streaming and playing the game, I will have the option so my chat can type in !replay and not have to do it basically a clip. It'll automatically save a video file and then show it up on screen. It zooms in on the right hand side, and then it shows like a 30-second replay. So that's all based on the replay buffer. That's what you could use the replay buffer for. Studio mode is really good. That say something was screwed up on this screen. I set it the 5-minute timer, right? And we're just gonna put it, I don't know, put it right here. Maybe you want it in the middle. Maybe you want it in the middle, but it's over here on the right hand side. So as soon as I fixed it, boom, I could say, hey, transition, and it will immediately bring the screen over to the one you edit. Boom. Now that's actually the live one. So whatever's on the right is live, right? But then we're like, oh, now we want to fix it back here so that the next time we come back to the scene, the video is actually where it's supposed to be. If you didn't want to change it right now, you could just hit studio mode. And then you could see it automatically put it down there, right? But say you're editing a scene that wasn't the one you're watching, you can actually edit like my game scene and then hit the studio button. This would still be the live scene going on while I'm streaming. And then I could switch over and then nobody would know. I just adjusted all kinds of stuff without anybody even seeing it, right? So that's a great thing about studio mode. Last option we have down here is just settings and exit. Exit's pretty self-explanatory. We have our scene transitions, which set up however you want, right? This is just your what's used in between each scene. I don't use this too much because I have a plugin. We'll show you that in the next video for plugins and filters. That one actually we'll talk about it. But if you don't have that plugin, whatever scene transition you have, aka like Stinger and this one, which is that video clip I have, every time you change from a scene, it's always going to use it. Always. But as you can see, when I switch to other scenes, certain ones, it does different types of transitions. And that is because I have that other plugin. All right, so let's go ahead and get into settings. I think we're running a little long. I'm going to go through these a little quick. If you guys have any questions after the video is out and I went too fast and stuff, just please let me know and I can work with you or show you a little bit better. So we have just the default stuff, automatic check for updates. I use this one here for the replay buffer. So when I hit starting stream, as soon as I start my stream, it automatically starts my replay buffer. That way, anytime I want to do that replay function, it's ready to go. So that's a important piece for you to remember if you want to do that. That's pretty much it for the main one. Second one's just going to be setting it up with your service. I'm using Twitch. You create a new account. You got to put your stream key in and all that stuff. I use the auto server. That's never caused a problem where it chooses the best one for me, right? And then if you need to do a bandwidth test, you can do a bandwidth test. That'll be great for you where you can, and find out your upload, because you need to know that for this screen here. I have a good upload, so I use the max I can use as an affiliate, which is 6,000 kilobytes per second. I think partners can go up to 8,000, I think is the max, but that's all they allow us to upload to them. But if your internet speeds aren't very fast, then you're going to have to tweak that down some. A lot of people will stream around about 4,000, which is about 4 megs up. So it's good to know. Encoder. This is where you start realizing what is your computer? How strong is your computer? Are you using two PCs to stream? We haven't even got into multi PC and how to link them and connect them, right? But I'm just talking fundamentals. If this is a single PC and your graphics card is really good and your processor's or pretty good, you're probably still going to want to offload. Hardware NVEC is for graphic card to offload it to your graphics card. Software is CPU. So if you only have software as an option, that means you don't have a high enough, potentially like NVIDIA graphics card that has the NVEC. I don't know if the Radeon series has them, but I know that I'm familiar with the, if you have like a 1080, 1060, stuff like that, they should have the NVEC. Anything higher than that should have the NVEC. But what that does is all the stuff that you're operating and running on your scene are pretty CPU intensive. And if you're playing a game, that's more CPU and everything like that. So that's when you would want to use that NVEC. Let's say you're running it on a second PC and that's all you're doing on that PC. If you have a decent CPU and you don't have a good graphics card or there's no NVEC, then just run it on the software, right? It's a 1060 or a 1080 on my streaming PC. Nothing high end, right? You just can get them for really cheap now that the new graphics cards are coming out. Just toss a 1080 in that bad boy, let it do the hardware. Then that way the software is doing all the normal stuff, and my software is never pegging high on CPU usage. And then the only thing I'm using for a graphics card is encoding. Awesome. So that's why I have this setting that way. I have 160 for the bitrate on audio just to get you decent sound. And then encoder preset, this is where you adjust your quality. So the higher you go down, or the lower you go down here, the less CPU or hardware utilization. It's faster, right? It's not as good a quality. So the higher you go up, the more it uses, but the better your quality is, right? Max quality is going to be the best. I could probably switch to that. Custom encoder settings, sometimes you might want to add stuff in there. So you can use OBS and you can stream your OBS video software, your video, to another PC. So basically on this PC, I had OBS running because I didn't have a capture card that could downscale my 2K video to a 1080p. So what I had to do is you can, when you're mirroring your graphic settings to send it to the other PC, I had to downscale my 2K monitor to a 1080p because I couldn't do it otherwise. It was mirroring the two between the HDMI connection to the other PC to this monitor, right? So that wasn't really ideal. So you could use OBS running on the gaming PC and then downscaling your video to 1080 in the OBS settings. And that's where I had this custom encoder setting. I don't remember what it was. But you basically would drop it down to a smaller 1080p, and then you offload that to this other monitor source you have, right? This your capture card monitor that you have, because you're not going to downscale, and boom, now you had a clear 1080p, no big deal. The problem was that uses some CPU. Some of these games out now use a massive amount of CPU, so it was having problems. The ultimate way to fix it is to get, I got a higher encoder card that handles up to 4K video. So running a 2K monitor, running it at 2K on the capture card, problem solves, right? So that fixed that problem. Recording path's pretty self-explanatory. That's where you're going to save your local recordings to your computer. I don't use MKV, I use MP4. If you have a lot of different audio sources, it could run into problems, but if it's just like one or two, I haven't had a problem with. So I use MP4 because then I can pull it into like Adobe Premiere or Adobe After Effects, whatever, and start messing around with it. Audio, it's just running fine the way it is, the sample rate, right? You got your, if you have all these devices, these are all devices on your computer that you can actually set up. You can set up your different levels, right? You can have desktop audios, multiple mics, things like that. I don't mess with that because I use the mixers and I created like an audio in and an audio out just so I had them like as standalone sources within my scene. So that's why you don't see them filled out here. Monitoring device. This is going to be where you want to send the output of what's going in on this screen here to like an audio source, right? Like, so when you do a transition or you have different elements working and you want to be able to hear it to make sure it's working, you can send it to a monitoring. Sometimes it's not that big deal. I mean, it's literally just sending it somewhere. If you don't have it working, no big deal. It still will output the audio. Video. So video here, base canvas is what the monitor sees right now, right? It could be like a 2K monitor, right? But you want to downscale it to 1080. That's how you would do it, right? You'd have what your resolution is you want, what you want to downscale it to, you can go. If you're only getting a 1080p source, then you would just have 1080 and 1080. Oh, hotcut keys. Man, we could talk about this for a long time. So hotcut keys are literally nothing more shortcuts. Like, you just want to literally like cheat and not have to manually push the little I buttons next to your sources to turn them on and off. You can actually create a shortcut key to do that, right? That works awesome if you have something like an Elgato Stream Deck or something else. I can just hit a button and it does the same stuff. Elgato's Stream Deck's awesome because it's actually embeds with OBS and you don't have to assign an actual keyboard shortcut to do the function. It actually just turns sources on and off and does different stuff. It's great. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. It's broken up based on scene. So you can just go down there and take a look at the different scenes and you're like, oh yeah, I want to be able to switch to this scene. Let me create a shortcut or whatever. And then you could just hit those keys on your keyboard, boom, it will automatically move it over. Advanced, I don't really mess with much. I think these are all pretty much standard settings, except for maybe the recording settings. If you want to put your stream on a delay, this is where you would do it. You know, you could set it up as a delay of 30 seconds because you're in a tournament, or a minute in a tournament, or whatever. You can do it here. But I think that's all for the keys, the shortcuts, the settings. I mean, we've touched through everything. We've talked through scenes, sources, audio sources. Yeah, we've covered all the basics. So if you guys have any additional comments or questions about the setup we didn't cover, please reach out and let me know in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. That will help get you guys those notifications when I am going to post another video. It also helps with the algorithm so more people can actually see the videos. So please like and subscribe and comment below of anything you guys have. Next video probably will be something else within OBS, or maybe do the other type of streaming software. But we're going to stay within the streaming tools for a while before we get into anything else like the additional things I have working on my stream. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.